Head out to Denver, where the Broncos GM took a glass half full take on their old QB. George Patton saying, 24 years old is not that old for football. It's not that old for real life. It actually is old for football.
Right.
Bo Nix, 61 starts. We feel like he'll be more than game ready if we were going to draft a 21-year-old. Nick, your reaction?
All right, so I think Sean Payton should probably maybe chill on some of the interviews. Now, I know Sean Payton has done a great job of cultivating relationships in the media, and a lot of my dearest friends really like Sean. I don't know him. Sure, he's a great guy. I think there's a little high on your own supply thing. The whole we tricked Minnesota into trading up. Like, A, I don't know if I believe it, and B, if you're right, that just means you tricked a team in the other conference into giving draft capital to a team in your conference. It didn't even help you. And here's the question I have. What evidence do we have that Sean Payton is good at picking quarterbacks? We know he's great at offensive design, all of the
dark horse.
Those, well, right, but no, but that's so
that was design.
Right, he has drafted Ian Book, Tommy Stevens, Garrett Grayson, Sean Canfield. He saw Taysom Hill and was like, quarterback.
Right.
He chose to go coach Russ's team. People were like, oh, they gave him a bunch of money. There were other jobs available for Sean Payton.
Yeah, he could have waited.
And now he takes a guy that the consensus said was a second-round pick at number 12. He's great at getting the most out of the quarterback you have. But do we have any evidence he's good at actually scouting the position? They might be totally different skill sets, and his resume says that maybe they are.
Well, look, I think that's a great point. The hope, obviously, in Denver is he does get the most out of Bo Nix, because I think there's something there, okay? But here's why I disagree with their contention that, oh, he's going to be more ready. Last guy I heard that about, Kenny Pickett. Remember that?
Yes.
Oh, he's like 25 or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Let's be clear, though. Their offense is a disaster, and that's not all because of Kenny Pickett. OCs matter, guys.
He's ready to play, and we see how that went. All right, the other thing is, why are you there at 24 years old? And this would go to Michael Penix too.
Oregon's
but why are you still?
Nice
he played
locker
5 years of college. He played. I know he got hurt at Arizona, but he still played like 10 games that season. So he had 5 essentially full seasons in college. The best players you're playing that are your age are in the NFL. So you're playing against a lot of younger kids. And at 24, and we've talked about this before, how much better are you going to get?
Right.
Certainly physically. You're what you're going to be. All right. That's not necessarily true with a 21-year-old. So I have questions about what they're saying. But if Sean can get the most out of him, I think he could be decent, at least better than what they have.
You still have Zach Wilson.
So, okay. So that's one of the arguments that what Brew just said is that, right, when you're an older quarterback, when you're already 24 or whatnot, there's not much more room for you to grow, especially if you've played all those years in college. That pretty much who you are is who you are. That when you have these younger quarterbacks or these physical freaks, whether it be a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, that there's a lot more room to grow. That we're only seeing like 70% of their potential, and that there's a lot more to go. But with the Brock Purdy's, the Bo Nixes, the Kenny Pickett's, these types of players, not saying that they're all at the same level of skill set, but just that their skill set is embedded into it. And that's one of the arguments of Brock Purdy that people say is that, look, this is who Brock Purdy is. Because people keep trying to say how good Brock Purdy is, and they say, look how young, look, he's only played like a season and a half or season and 3/4 worth of games, whatever it ends up being. Look, this is what he's doing. And it's like, yeah, that's awesome and shows his maturity and his baseline skill set. But the argument that he'll be able to continue to go up and up and up and up and up, there is the argument against that. I don't really have a side in that, quite honestly, because I think we need more data in that regard. We need to see more players, more quarterbacks in this newer offensive-driven league. And again, where you get drafted matters. Bo Nix got drafted to the Steelers last season, then yeah, he probably would have the same levels of success as Kenny Pickett potentially. So I just will not judge a quarterback based on I'm not going to just ignore the fact where a quarterback gets drafted, essentially is what I'm trying to say. Because it's just not fair. So right, and I get what Nick is saying, because not all great coaches and elite coaches are great at the draft or quarterback selection or scouting, right? Like, that is a very true statement as well. And that could be a big weakness of Sean Payton. I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion either way, quite honestly. I really, really don't. I know that's been the narrative around Bill Belichick for the last decade, that he can't draft. He can't draft wide receivers. He can't draft any offensive players. So I think the real question is, with Sean Payton, this is where it pays to have at least a bona fide offensive head coach. Whether you think Sean Payton is the greatest coach ever or just an average coach, he is a true offensive mind that should garner respect. I think that at least is safe to say. And so when you now get a Bo Nix, if he's not good and it's just not working, unless Sean Payton proves to actually not really be that good of a head coach. And for this example, if you're the Broncos, you're going with the mindset, no, he's the real deal, and we're going to let this unfold for the next 5 years or whatever until proven otherwise. If Bo Nix is not good and not getting it, that's on Bo Nix and not Sean Payton. And this has been my argument over Dak Prescott for years, is that it makes it harder to evaluate a quarterback like a Dak Prescott or, anyone that doesn't have a true great bona fide, offensive coach. Because you're like, well, what's going on? Is it the coach? Is it the player? Where are we at here? And that was that was what happened with Justin Fields as well. It's like, well, Justin Fields, is he actually a really good athlete and a good quarterback, but he just needs a better coach? And again, the silly example is like, what if Andy Reid was his coach? Would Justin Fields be better? You better believe it. And that's the thing. That is the benefit. And again, Andy Reids don't grow on trees here, but you have Andy Reid, Sean McVay, like you do have these other offensive minds. And so I think if we think that Sean Payton is a good coach and Bo Nix is a good enough quarterback, then you have to imagine that the Broncos could truly be successful. Will they win shootouts with the elite quarterbacks at the top of the NFL, like the Patrick Mahomes? Maybe not, probably not, potentially. It's like depending on the day. Will he be the massive limiting factor that you're just like, oh my God, we cannot win, we need another quarterback? Also probably not. So I think that's where it is. Ask yourself this. If Sean Payton is in the arena of like an Andy Reid, is Bo Nix Alex Smith or Patrick Mahomes? Right? And you need the Patrick Mahomes, especially in this day and age. It makes everything much easier when you have the Patrick Mahomes at your quarterback. So I think Bo Nix can without a doubt be successful, and I am in no way doubting him. I'm just kind of talking from all the different sides. To me, I put Sean Payton like on a 3-year window at this point. Okay? I'll even give him the chance if Bo Nix ends up failing. If Bo Nix fails and it's not good, I won't blame Sean Payton just yet. But then I give him one more chance. I get, depending on what the market looks like or where we're at, I get him a bona fide established quarterback that we know he is great or going to be great, depending on obviously where you're getting him, whether it be in the draft or, free agent. And if then I move on from Sean Payton. Then it's like, okay, Sean Payton has been exposed as, it seems like Drew Brees was more the guy than Sean. But if you're going with it, if you're a Broncos fan, I think you can definitely be optimistic. You can definitely be excited. You can definitely be happy. And you can be, ready for what the future will bring. I don't think you need to have this idea that, okay, they're going to win 12 games next season. I think that might be unrealistic, although technically possible. I just think that, again, if Bo Nix is a legit quarterback based on the Broncos roster, you got to give it like a 2-year window. If Bo Nix is a legitimate NFL starter to be competitive in the NFL. But again, one of the biggest arguments always is, well, listen, the guy with the better quarterback typically wins. The team with the better quarterback typically wins. And listen, as much as I think Bo Nix can play and be successful, he's not Justin Herbert and he's not Patrick Mahomes. And that's just in your own division. Not even talking about the conference. So, but as we see, even someone a quarterback at the level of a Brock Purdy can have a lot of success. And I do believe that Sean Payton is good enough of a head coach and an offensive mind that he can put the pieces together, that if he has a great roster and has a good quarterback, that you absolutely can win, go on Super Bowl runs, and make some noise. So I think that's why I think, to judge the Broncos right now, look at it on a 2 to 3 window. Not everything not like what happens in the next 6 weeks. Not doing this all, oh my God, Bo Nix better lead us to the playoffs and a playoff win right away. Otherwise, it's a failure. Sean Payton's awful and Bo Nix should be cut. Not that. To me, this is more of like a 3-year plan, because you're also still dealing technically with the fallout of Russell Wilson having that money. So all of that pulls you down and delays the process of being a true contender. But if Bo Nix is ready to play and ready to go, then you can have very quick success. Definitely. The Broncos almost squeaked into the playoffs. They even beat the Kansas City Chiefs. They went 1-1, but they almost won 2. I forget. I know the one game was close, and then they had definitely won 1. So like it's and that was with Russell Wilson. So it's the Broncos are definitely one of the top teams that I'm looking at to see what they do. There's a lot of teams this season, which is really fun because there's a lot of these unknowns: Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, JJ McCarthy. There's a lot of unknowns. The one thing that we do know, that all these quarterbacks are not going to be hits. It just never is. And maybe technically this will be the one year where all these quarterbacks are balling out and the NFL just hit the reset button and we're just like, oh my God, half the league has new quarterbacks and they're all amazing. What is going on? Maybe that'll happen, but more likely than not, it's not going to happen. So the real question is where do these other quarterbacks lie? Are they Baker Mayfields? Are they Trevor Lawrences? Are they Patrick Mahomes? Are they Sam Darnolds? It's like where are they? Where are we landing here? So, but I think it's exciting, and again, if I'm looking at it from a Broncos fan perspective, I'm definitely excited. I'm definitely way more optimistic about the future than I was a month ago, a week ago, because I had no idea where we were going. We just got Zach Wilson. It's like Russell Wilson was supposed to be our hero. That was a disaster. Then we got Zach Wilson, and it's just like, what the heck are we doing? So at least with Bo Nix, you have some excitement, you have some optimism, and you have the true chance at Sean Payton turning Bo Nix into a really, really good to great quarterback. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you think about Bo Nix and Sean Payton and the Broncos? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.